welcome to Beyond Profile. Today is February 14th, and we are continuing in our uptrend here. Even this morning we're trading higher. And let's take a look at what we've really got. The S&P here has been knocking on the door of 1350 here several times now. Yesterday we didn't get through it. And what's going to be interesting this morning is this little gap up. Is that are we going to have a continuation, or are they going to sell into this move? Meaning that if you look at the last 7 days of balance that we have going on here of trade, we would say that this is pretty much balanced trade. All right, we have acceptance range, if you will, 1334, 35 area up back to 1350. There's an acceptance. We have relatively equal lows, relatively equal highs, and this has been happening for now 7 days. This will lead to an imbalanced state, which means that either we break out and we continue higher, or if we break back down below these last lows, that we could come back down through the range here. In either case, this balanced state will create an imbalanced state, which we know is there'll be a directional vertical move, and the markets will either continue to move up higher from here, or we'll, like I said, lose this area. We do have this gap from a week ago Friday that on the jobs number, so we still have this gap here, which was, I've got this number, we've been talking about it in the room for some time, 1322. Was one of actually the second highest volume nodes. You can see for the month so far, for the February, 1339s, one of the highest volume nodes. And then of course for the January's point of control is here. So you have, first it'd be 1322 to the downside. 1308 would be the second objective in that as it comes back to this area of high volume. To the top side, there's only a few minor areas of concern that we would have to deal with. And when you go back and look at the chart from last year, you'll see that this is right where we're at. We haven't been able to break out of it yet cleanly, whereas obviously the NASDAQ has cleanly gone through that area, and the Dow is right up in the same area. So some key levels here for sure the next session or so to see whether or not it's going to break out. If there's any sort of break above it, and then no follow through, and immediately we pull back into this balance area, that the market will auction through the current value area and go out the other end of this. So, all right, which in that point I would be looking at that 1322 target. So if it does this number here, a probe rejection outside of this prior balance, or let's say it goes like this, and then the next day we come right straight back inside of it, we'll come out the other end of the balance area to the downside. Just as well as we probe the top, we'll probe the bottom. So this morning, actually, I'm going to be watching to see if we don't get some sort of a sign of a probe through, 1350 area here into 52s, and then see if it turns back around and comes back down through the range here. Because this has been a nice uptrend, no doubt, since December here. January came in with a roar on the gap open because we had this very nice balance area going in December where the market was really having an acceptance of value. Even here, you can see that nice area. And for the most part, we've had three. This is a 5-day balance area here. This one was another 5-day continued. This one, again, tried to go higher, tried to go lower, and then we gapped up again on the jobs number. So there's, some imbalanced state with some what I would call minor areas of demand underneath us here, because there wasn't a lot of time. Versus when you get into a big block like this for the year, for a whole month of December, there's good structure in this, and you can see where that value area actually would reside. So my downside objectives: 22s, 08s. Okay, those are the objectives that I have to the downside in the ES market, and we'll watch. I think the next session or so here will prove to be very crucial as to whether or not we're going to continue to move up out of this area and break out, or we're going to fade this and it'll pull back into those two key levels that we're looking for. All right, folks, have a good trading day, and we'll see you in the trading room.